What's up, everybody? It's your favorite Guilty Pleasures favorite nerd, and today we are looking at Impossible Toys Sunstorm Tetrajet. Now, there's a long story to these, right? I love the Seekers. I think there's just a certain charm about when they're all together. This puppy is dusty. And I've always, since I was a kid, wanted the Tetrajet mode of these guys. And never really thought about it being a realistic kind of thing to accomplish for my collection. Then Impossible Toys put these out. And when the pre-orders went up, I hesitated. I think they were $60 a pop. Because it's Impossible Toys, and Impossible Toys generally makes a terrible product. But I was sitting with my daughter in my lap, and I said, should I get these? And she was a big Transformers fan at the time. That's before she saw Age of Extinction and decided she didn't like Transformers anymore. But she said, you gotta get them. So I did, and I pre-ordered all of them. The entire set, all 7, for $60 a pop. I'll let you do the math on that. It wasn't pretty. Especially now when they go in the aftermarket for about $20 a pop. Now, the good gents over at SCU give me a real hard time about this thing. Because it is such a terrible product, and because I can tend to be opinionated on my views on other products, they kind of see this as the chink in my armor, so to speak. And let me go on the record and say that this is bad. It's really, really bad. But it does scratch this nostalgic itch for me. And when I have them all lined up together, which hopefully I'll show you, there is something about it. It's in my Cribs video. Like, it does do it for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, it pays off. Is it worth the money? Not the money that I spent, I can tell you that. But probably the money on the aftermarket it would have been worth for me, absolutely. Look at that. But it is a nightmare. Now, they all come in robot mode in the package, and I tried to transform them all into this mode in order to display them, because the robot mode looks horrendous. And I swore I would never transform them back. But enough people have kind of inquired that I show you guys what these things are like, that I feel like it is my duty to do so. Now, before we get into the transformation, which we'll talk about, I just want to go on the record and say, unless you have an extreme love of this specific aesthetic that I feel like this toy nails in this mode for the most part, this is not worth the money. It's light plastic, it's hollow, it's cheap. It feels cheap, except for the price that I paid. But at $20 a pop or whatever, if you love this aesthetic and you've always wanted a Tetrajet just lined up and you never want to play with them, you just want to see them in this mode, it will do it for you. But I just want to go on record and say that doesn't mean that I'm saying this is good, because it isn't. But if you think of it in terms of buying like 6 statues, it's perfect, in a matter of speaking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transform this. These toys hold a dear place in my heart because of the kind of laughing stock that they've become amongst my peers. And as a result, they do mean something to me. But I decided to not look at the instructions. I haven't transformed these things in, I think, 2 years. At least a year and a half to 2 years. So I'm just going to try and see how it goes. And I'm not going to speed up anything. I'm not going to do anything. We're just going to go through it. That's my plan anyway, to see how it is, because it is a nightmare. The transformation is a nightmare. But let's look at it. So it comes with these 2 accessories. They plug in there, and they work just fine. They play the part. All this is hollow up in there. That looks terrible. This looks good. The plastic is like it's a cheaper plastic, but it has like a shine to it, so it almost gives the illusion that it's painted, but it's definitely not. And then the back is fine. I think the only paint apps are this orange here, this deeper orange, which I'm not sure the camera's even picking up. It's like an orangish red right in there, and then this yellow. Actually, the white might be painted. No, the white is plastic. So it's white plastic, and then actually this yellow might be plastic as well. And this piece, yeah, that even opens up to have a little seat. Isn't that nice? And look, so the yellow is painted on the white plastic, and then the red is painted on the white plastic. Some silver in there. We'll talk about that in robot mode. But so are we all on the same page? I want to make sure we're all on the same page before we continue further. It's bad. I enjoy them. I enjoy the way they look on my little landing coming down into my basement. And it completely scratches that itch for me, but this is bad. So here's the accessories, and they're hollow, as you can see. Impossible Toys, spare no expense. And we'll take those off. We'll fold in the landing gear. Now, there's a good chance that this piece here is going to fall apart. As you can see, this already came untabbed somehow. I'm going to try to keep it together, but I'm not making any promises. There's a lot of small tabs and stuff. I don't want to break any of that because I'm definitely not buying this thing over again. Do you know what I'm saying? But let's give it a go. So I think that this was the last step, was tabbing all this bit in. Oh yeah, these are two separate pieces. What a nightmare. Yeah. Fold these pieces up here. And the only reason why I know to do that is because they have a hinge. I don't remember this at all. But I know that this back piece comes off somehow, some way. And it tabs in 100 different places. All along the ridge, so to speak. Alright, so we're making some headway here. There we go, we got that open. And it like, you know, it's like kind of a shell former. Look at the stress mark on there. Actually, I think it's damaged. So, stress mark on there as well. Alright, so now we have this, which we'll set to the side. And then we have this. So let's bring the legs down. Feet down. Close this back on itself. This down. There, that looks right. Foot down. Do the same here. Oof. There's nothing about this that makes me feel comfortable. Alright, so we'll do the same for this. Make sure that this is folded up properly there. Close that back. Rotate this kind of arm around here. Fold that. Pull down the feet. And then this. Open these pieces up here on the side. These tab into the back of the chest here to kind of secure everything. But it's not really well tolerant, so you kind of gotta push and pull on the different pieces in order to get it up in there. Fold the head back, fold this down. Around. This is so bad. Bring the hand down. Put the arms in a appropriate anatomical position. All right, so that's the bot. And then there's this thing. And I'm going to be honest with you, I have no idea how this operates. But let's see. So these slide out. That's got to have something to do with it, no? Maybe like this. And that. Pretty sure that's got to stay on there. But it is not a good fit. Oh, these got to come up. Missed that. Okay, so I have it. This piece, what you want to do is you want to make sure that the straight line is up across the top, that these are pulled out separately, that this hinge here is facing, like it swivels just a little bit, probably because the screw isn't tight, but if you have that problem, just make sure that it folds so that this piece here covers up the screw, angle this up, and then fold that flap around. So same on the other side, fold up, back, down. This plugs into the back of the bot, and this plugs into the little armature here, like this. You thought I was going to say like so, Robert, but you were wrong. And then you can kind of angle it up a taste, fold that back down around the back the best you can, and then you have this fella. Now, the problem from Jump Street is the face sculpt. Like the sculpt isn't clean, so like you can barely see the lips. Like it's like just muddied. It's a muddied mess. The head is on a swivel. The red paint on the eyes is done poorly. The silver paint on the face is actually done fairly well, and the yellow paint in there is done well. Moving down, the white paint is all done well, but probably could have used a second coat. Let's say on all of it. Would it have really hurt this thing? It's also white paint on this pelvis piece, which does strike me as a bit strange. Like I didn't see it before, but it's definitely, this whole pelvis piece is an orange piece of plastic, because you can see the orange coming through on the back piece where it wasn't painted all the way. The shoulders are on universal joints, so you get the swivel up and then the swivel out, and that's fine. Things are going to fall off this thing the entire time. It's kind of how he rolls. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow gets you to there, so a bit excessive for the quality of this toy, but nice to have, I guess. And then a hinge down for the wrist if you want to count that. The wings do kind of get in the way. They are obnoxious, not thoroughly thought through, but whatever. No waist swivel. Universals for hips, and they get you out if you get the kibble out of the way, all the way, but forward not so much, to about there. Thigh swivel, double jointed knee, which is nice, I guess. And then let's see, we have silver paint and red paint there, and that's about it for this fella. You have the ankle tilt up but not tilt down, and certainly no rocker. I don't know, man. What do you want me to say? It's fine, I guess. Let's do a size comparison. There he is next to the Hasbro Fall of Cybertron kind of Tetrajet piece. And this is a well-made toy in comparison to this. This is far superior. I just want to go on record because, you know, I know people think I'm just a Hasbro hater, but I call them like I see them. You know, this is poorly made. This is well made in comparison. This does a much better job in the bot aesthetic and jet aesthetic, whereas this kind of just nails the jet aesthetic. The problem is that this isn't the G1 Tetrajet. You know what I mean? It's the Fall of Cybertron Tetrajet. It's not supposed to be the G1 Tetrajet, and it succeeds at being the Fall of Cybertron Tetrajet. But if you want that G1 look, it's not really an option to go this route. Size-wise, they're comparable, right? I mean, he may be a bit taller, but he also looks like he's wearing Air Force Ones, I guess, but I don't know. But they overall, I think that while this is more successful all across the board, you know, it still doesn't quite get you that specific desired look if you want that specific desired look, which, you know, maybe you don't, because look at it. Final thoughts-wise, it's garbage, right? it's trash. The materials are trash. The transformation is trash. The accessories are dumb. Like, and they're not dumb, I guess. They're hollow, to be fair. The paint is okay. It's garbage. It's lightweight trash. You know, what else can I say? There's nothing really redeemable to say about this, except that it nails this mode. And as a kid, I always wanted a representation of this mode. I always loved the way that the Cybertronian jets looked from Episode 1, the Season 1 of Transformers. And this is the closest thing that we have. It's terrible. It's trash. But for my purposes, I'm telling you, I am happy to see them. Do you know what I mean? Like, it scratches an itch that no one has ever scratched before, so to speak. So at $20 a pop, if you just want them to look like this, to have on a shelf, to just kind of remember the days of '84 when you were mucking around on the floor and always wanted one, you know, it succeeds in that regard. But it fails in every single other regard. So you had to come to terms with your fear and desire on this one, my friends. All I can tell you is that I'm happy to see them this way. But if they came out with a $60 statue that was made out of nice materials of just this mode, it'd probably be a way better of a purchase. But, you know, hindsight's 20/20 and whatnot. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.
What are you guys still doing here? I don't have my robe or anything. It's embarrassing. You thought there was going to be a skit? That thing wasn't enough of a joke? I think we've had enough laughs for today.